Hey guys, it's Greg. Um, Matt and I have been talking. We've talked quite a few times over the past week, um, and I want to talk to you today about psychology, sociology, um, programming, social programming. If you have Netflix, if you haven't already, you need to watch the movie. Well, it's not a movie; it's just a long, full feature of Black Mirror, but it's called Bandersnatch. It is basically, let's see, it's set in 1984, which would be about the time that, somewhere around the time that these, seems to, I remember they came out earlier, the interactive books, where you make a choice and you go to a certain page. Um, those came out. So this is set in 84, and it's like 8-bit, you know, cartridge type or computer, the big 5-inch floppy disk computer games. And this guy's a programmer. But the point is, the entire uh, movie, show, whatever you want to call it, it's interactive. You make the choices with your, uh, your remote. So, uh, it gets. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, so I'll try not to give away anything. But it does get into control. Who's controlling what? And if you haven't watched it yet, just go ahead and turn this off now and wait until you have watched it. So that, because I'm going to try not to give away anything, but I have to talk about what the basically what the outcome tells is somewhat insightful. It's an insight into basically what we're doing and what they're doing, whoever they are. You know, one thing I will tell you is you will have an opportunity. You need to follow Colin. At least just follow him, just to hear what he has to say. Um, Ultimately, the conclusion I came up with is, the main character, he realizes that he's not in control. There's something, he's being controlled, and he doesn't know who's controlling him. There's a possibility of a program and control system controlling him. Um, I didn't even see this outcome, and Matt gave me another outcome that uh, another entity is controlling him, and I'm not going to say what, just in case you run into that. So the point is, in the end, you are controlling him. And what does that mean? Okay, well, it means you're interacting with that show. You're the ones that's making you're making the choices. When a choice comes up, do you do this? Do you do that? You choose, and you get the outcome from your choice. It's like ladder logic, or like programming logic, where it's you have that line comes down as it goes across in this way, and you got two choices, and each one branches down and has its own choice. So, uh, I think it's just a social experiment. It's to see. Think of it as a form of. Like I've said before, they're collecting data on us all the time. They already know basically everything about me from these videos. 10 years of Facebook. They know everything about everybody. And what were they talking about? Facial recognition, computer software now, and all they got to do is just go pull profile pictures and pictures of when you were happy, when you weren't, blah 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 blah. The point is, this Black Mirror episode, which is like a full-length feature film, except you make the choices. Well, what if it's an early minority report? And we've talked about blockchain before. Every piece of data that's being collected is being blockchain and put on millions of computers, so that you can't. I mean, that's the lockdown, right? Um, you know, I can't tell you how many psychology electives I took in school, because we had so many free electives, and every time I had one, I would take a psychology class or sociology class, some form of social science, because I'm interested in human nature and the nature of the reality of. It amazes me how people are so easily programmed um, into believing what they believe. I mean, Daddy, I'm not putting you down. I'm just using this as an excuse, or not an excuse, but just as an example. I told my dad, I said, you watch these shows, Discovery, whatever, and they tell you that the pyramids are built, and we don't have the technology to do that. And you believe that, yet you also believe that there's people up 350 miles above the Earth's surface floating around in a capsule. We got the technology to do that, but we can't build a pyramid. You're telling me that the Army Corps of Engineers can't figure out how to make a pyramid? But, hey. Basically, we live in a reality of psychology. And it's either you fall for the shit or you don't. You have to look at things with skeptical eyes, with psychology, social science glasses. The they live glasses, where it shows you the programming. And in the end, we were programming the thing, because the interactive Black Mirror episode, we were making the choices, but at the same time they were studying our choices, is what I feel. I feel like they were studying our choices, which gives them data. So if there's one particular scene where it says kill dad, well, if you decide to choose, okay, kill dad, well, you've got a murderous intention, so that goes in your file. And then when you get hauled in before the court of the whatever, they bring all this shit back up on you. So, I don't know. Just we were talking about Matt and I were talking about some of the older games like Quake. I started on Quake. At the time, I think I had a 28 modem, and then I went to a 56. But 28 was fine at that time. Um, and that Quake engine got better and better and better, and it's basically that and the Half-Life engine combined. The late 90s it was Team Fortress, where that or Counter Strike. And think about all of the kids that are dead now. They joined the army only because they played Call of Duty, and some recruiter lied to them and told them, yes, you can be a sniper. I know my son fell for that shit. They programmed these kids with Call of Duty while all this war is going on, Afghanistan, Iraq, and these kids they changed it from, Call of Duty was World War II, and then they changed it to you are fighting in Iraq. So many years they programmed these kids, and believe me, Army recruiters lie to you, Marine recruiters lie to you. They tell you, yes, you can be a sniper. You just have to join the infantry. Do you think that the Marines need 1,000,000 snipers? Because there's 1,000,000 kids that want to join and be a sniper. There's so many dead now only because of that game. And the Army actually had a game similar. A massive multiplayer, game. They put it out. So it's programming. Psychology. The thing is, though, back during the days of Quake, and people were cracking the game. You could clip, which meant you could go through walls, and you could download a bot, which I think that shit still goes on now. I've seen some stuff on YouTube about where these guys and girls are big shots on Twitch, and they mess around and unveil their screen, and you see all these bots lined up and all this control system, and then they get busted. So the one girl is funny. She's like, somebody else was using my PC, and you can tell she's guilty. It's hilarious, but it's all this whole thing. It's like Christoph said, Truman finally broke out, but why has he never figured it out? Because we accept the world with which we are first presented. The reality of the world that we're presented with is what we accept. Except there are exceptions. I don't accept it. If you're watching this, chances are you don't accept it. I know if you watch Matt, you don't accept it. So I don't know. If you've never taken psychology classes, get online, go to eBay or wherever, and buy a couple of old psychology textbooks and just start reading. I don't know. Was I wired this way from the beginning? I have no idea. I know that I've been skeptical all of my life. My grandfather was too. My grandfather didn't believe in the moon landing. And he was around when it happened. He was an older man, educated and had a sense of smelling bullshit. He had that sense about him that he could sniff out bullshit. And he didn't believe it either. So he didn't believe it. My dad believes it. I don't believe it. My brother believes it. Everybody else does. But it's like that's just that. I told my dad once that I feel like I'm the black sheep of the family. And he said that my grandfather used to say the same thing. So, is there a hereditary gene? I don't know. Does it skip a generation? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But like the Bandersnatch thing, to me, it seems like they put it out as it's fun to do, kind of like Call of Duty. It's fun to do. It actually, to me, it kind of got boring toward the end. But you've got to listen to what Colin has to say. But to me, it's just another way for them to find out details about you and what your personality is, which way you're going to go. Because, you're making the choices. So every choice you make gets recorded somewhere and blockchained, and that's it. So, Minority Report's not that far off as far as off the mark. I don't know when they'll start that shit, but I'm not saying it's not that far off. I'm saying it's not that far off the mark. It's not. It's like Captain Kirk's science and science fiction are the same thing. So, I don't know. Alright, guys. Just wanted to touch base with you on that one particular Black Mirror deal. Black Mirror is a great make you think kind of series. It's really good. Some of them aren't, but it's like the old Twilight Zone updated, and the Twilight Zone stuff, that was kind of like you watched it and then you talked about it among friends. You're like, that was cool. It's kind of like the Seinfeld water cooler shit. But the problem with Bandersnatch is they're recording. I assume that they're not going to waste the opportunity to record your choices. So, and the point I was trying to bring up about the game, as far as clipping and bots and seeing through the walls and whatnot, those are it's basically like the Matrix, the movie The Matrix. Is where they're manipulating the computer generated world that they are in. They know that they can break the laws of physics. Cheat codes is what they are. Why don't we just start living our life as if cheat codes? Just don't fall for the shit. Kind of like Matt's last video that I just watched. Is like, who cares? If it says go this way, go that way. That's basically what we're doing anyway. Except I don't think that we realize that we're in that second level of the Matrix, like Neo was when they thought they were out. I think now that we are starting to realize that we're not really in the same one that the masses are in, but we're just in that extra level over, but we're still not out yet. And probably never will get out. But why not just manipulate what we have?
Christoph, let me ask you, why do you think that Truman has never come close to discovering the true nature of his world until now?
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
All right, guys. Also, want to address, somebody said something about the format with the theater. I've already stated the purpose of that. It's because when I run clips, it makes it smaller. I can put filters on it, and I don't have to deal with all the copyrighted crap. So, and then that I save that template into my rendering, and I just load everything in there now. It's easier than rearranging all of these lines and a video rendering. It's just easy to load that template. Okay, guys, have a good one. Please be good to everyone else, and take care.